Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Okay, let's jump right in because today we're unpacking some absolutely profound psychological lessons on motivation, resilience, and what it really takes to thrive. We're going to be exploring some brilliant insights shared by two of India's most renowned motivational speakers, Sandeep Maheshwari and Sonu Sharma. We've distilled their conversations down into a few crystal clear concepts to help you truly grasp these ideas. So let's get started.
Now, right off the bat, I gotta ask you a question. Why do we give up on our goals, even when we know exactly what we need to do to succeed? I mean, think about your own life for a second. When we fail, it's rarely because of a lack of knowledge, right? You probably know exactly what you should be doing right now. The real issue is actually a much deeper psychological block that stops us dead in our tracks. All right, let's jump straight into our first section, Find Your Strong Why, the Power of Purpose. So this right here is the absolute foundation of human motivation. Because without a core purpose, any minor obstacle you face is going to easily reset all of your progress right back to zero. Let's do a quick hypothetical. Imagine I gave you a 30-foot wooden plank. It's just 2 feet wide, and I asked you to walk across it for 1,000 rupees. Would you do it? I'm guessing most of you watching this would say, yeah, absolutely, that's easy money. But let's twist things up a bit to see how our brains actually work. In that first scenario, the plank is safely on the ground, super easy to walk. But what if I place that exact same wooden plank between two 100-story buildings? Are you going to walk it now for 1,000 rupees? No way. You'd refuse. It's the exact same physical task, but just changing the environment and the level of risk completely kills our motivation to do it. Okay, let's add one final twist. What if your daughter was trapped in that other building and a fire had just broken out? Now, you wouldn't even wait for me to offer you a single penny, would you? You'd sprint across that plank. Why? Because when the stakes are deeply personal and emotional, that crippling fear of a 100-story drop, it completely vanishes. And that beautifully illustrates our first major takeaway from Sandeep Maheshwari. He says, when your why is very clear, then you never give up. Having an incredibly strong why, like saving someone you love, acts as this impenetrable armor against any hurdle in your journey. If your reason for doing something isn't strong enough, honestly, the slightest bit of fear is going to stop you. Moving on to section 2, Why Success Spoils Us, the Crucible of Struggle. So, we all spend our days chasing success, but the speakers point out a pretty harsh reality. It's actually our struggles, not our successes, that build our inner strength. Success, in a lot of ways, just kind of puts us to sleep. Think of a pampered kid. He's totally wrapped up in a heavy blanket, yet he catches a cold from the tiniest draft of cool air. Contrast that with a kid on the street. He's playing outside in the dead of winter, completely unbothered because he has an incredibly strong immune system. It's a vivid way to see how extreme comfort literally weakens us, while exposure to harsh realities builds an unstoppable immune system for life. And they argue this is especially crucial for young adults. Specifically, between the ages of 14 and 22, intense struggle is basically a necessity. This is the exact time when you're building that mental immune system. If things come too easy for you here, the comfort zone just spoils your mind and inflates your ego. Being rubbed hard by life's challenges early on forges an iron foundation for the next 60 years of your life. But most importantly, surviving struggles teaches you to stand tall in your own eyes. Because, let's be real, if you don't believe in yourself after surviving the fire, the world definitely never will. Which brings us to section 3, Execution Outweighs Mere Knowledge, the knowing-doing gap. Here's a problem that plagues almost all of us. Simply knowing what is right or wrong is practically useless on its own. To brilliantly illustrate that a lack of moral or practical knowledge is almost never the actual problem, Sonu Sharma shares this really memorable anecdote. He says, a dog knows it's dishonest bread, so he eats it 3 streets away in hiding. Even a dog knows right from wrong. I mean, think about it. If you feed a dog, it happily eats right there in front of you. But if that same dog steals a piece of bread, it runs 3 streets away to hide. Even an animal instinctively knows when it's doing something wrong. Let's look at another example. Imagine a lifelong chain smoker whose lungs are just completely ruined. It would be totally absurd for them to look at a doctor and say, well, if I knew it was bad, I wouldn't have smoked. As Sonu Sharma emphasizes, no, he knew it. It doesn't matter if you know. We constantly engage in self-destructive habits, whether that's procrastinating, eating junk food, or smoking, knowing full well it's terrible for us. So let's make this crystal clear. Execution is the act of actually doing what you know is right, and it is the absolute most powerful tool for achieving success. Period. Everyone knows a morning walk is healthy, right? Rich or poor, literally anyone can do it. But they don't. Action, not passive intellect or endless planning, is the ultimate driver of change.
All right, section 4, uprooting habits early on, the biological trap. So, to execute the right things, we have to stop executing the wrong things. We really need to understand exactly why procrastination and bad habits have to be addressed immediately before they basically hijack your biology. There's this powerful parable of a student and a teacher walking through a jungle that perfectly explains how a tiny bad habit deepens its roots. Step 1. The teacher points to a finger-sized plant, and the student pulls it up effortlessly. Step 2. A 3-foot shrub. Takes a little more power, but he gets it. Step 3. A 5-foot tree. Now this takes serious, sweating energy to remove. Finally, step 4. A massive 20-foot banyan tree. The student realizes it is completely impossible to uproot. And guys, this is your brain on bad habits. At the first cigarette, or that first hour you waste scrolling, it's easy to pull. But if you let it biologically cement itself into your brain, it turns into a banyan tree of regret. And that leads us perfectly into our final section, Section 5, Become the Jungle Lion, Creating Value Over Surviving. Now we're really raising the stakes. We're moving from just getting a safe job or fixing bad habits to actually creating immense value in the world. And I want to challenge you directly right now. Stop using your brain just to survive. Use your knowledge to create immense value for society. We have been gifted this incredible instrument, the human mind. And yet so many of us simply use it to secure a paycheck just so we can eat and survive. But mere survival is something animals do. Humans have this unique, profound capacity to innovate, to solve massive problems, and to build real value. This brings us to one of the most powerful analogies of this whole explainer. On one side, you have the circus lion. He's fed right on time, he is completely safe from the rain and the hot sun. But he's whipped. He's caged. Even little kids mock him and pull his tail through the bars. On the other side, we have the jungle lion. He's hungry. He has to hunt every single day just to make it to sunset. He faces constant, grueling struggles. But he is immensely proud. You really have to see the hidden indignity of choosing ultimate safety and a cozy circus job over your own freedom and purpose. Sonu Sharma sums this whole vibe up perfectly with a really punchy, perspective-shifting quote. He says, 30 years of fantastic life is better than 100 years of average life. I mean, wow, it completely captures the entire philosophy we've been talking about today. Don't embrace the sterile comfort of a cage just to live a long, average life. Embrace the struggle, take the risks, and live a fantastic, roaring life. So as we wrap up this explainer, I've got one final provocative question for you to chew on. Which lion will you be? Are you going to settle for the safety of the circus? Or are you hungry enough to take immediate action, embrace the struggle, and become the lion of the jungle? Think deeply about what you've heard today, find your strong why, and go execute on it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.